Today we're going to be taking a look at Metal Hurlant number 12, the Spanish edition. Now, this was originally published in 1980 in the original French edition, Metal Hurlant number 57, and that was a special issue. So we're going to look at the amazing cover here by both Druillet and Moebius, the only known cover of Metal Hurlant, or heavy metal for that matter, by both of these artists. But first, I just want to point out a couple of things. My channel is not monetized, so I am selling one of my films, Witch Tales. This is a special limited edition Blu-ray. It is signed and numbered, and it is available on eBay. You can see the link in the description. It is on sale. And there's another special issue that has come out from Metal Hurlant. Yes, they are very much still alive. This came out this year, 2022, and I believe it came out in February. This is an overview, perhaps the best of Metal Hurlant 1975 to 1984. The link is in the description to get this. It is also at a great price, so you may want to check this out because it is fantastic. 290 pages. They go through a lot of great stories in this, including, of course, they start off with the fantastic Long Tomorrow by Dan O'Bannon and Moebius, amongst many others. Casa, Dionne, writing a lot. Gall, of course, Conquering Armies is in this. Mézières. Naturally, Druillet, really quite a great book. I highly recommend it. This cover is the only known cover that was done as a collaboration between Moebius and Druillet. So, as I said before, this is issue number 12 of the Spanish edition of Metal Hurlant, which would not actually surface until 1982, approximately 7 years later. It's a very interesting when you track all of these things between Pilote, which predated Metal Hurlant. Then, of course, Metal Hurlant hits the stands 1975. Heavy Metal comes out in the United States 1977. But concurrently, you also have a publication called Totem. Now, Totem was really the kind of side-by-side Metal Hurlant in Spanish. And we will be taking a look at a few of those issues in future videos. So Totem had stories that were happening, that were being published at that time in Metal Hurlant, along with, of course, Spanish artists and so forth, different artists. It wasn't just, oh, here's the same issue of Metal Hurlant and Totem, but Totem was really the magazine that mirrored Metal Hurlant when it began. And when they put out Metal Hurlant finally in 1982, the Spanish version, of course, they weren't just mirroring Metal Hurlant, they had a ton of other stuff as well. So, you know, of course, as you can see here, they certainly did have a lot of Metal Hurlant stuff from the original magazines. Jodorowsky's in this, Voss, Morisi, Bihannic, Moebius, and, of course, Druillet. So, as we look at this cover, and I'm going to kind of bring it up here for you, see if we can get a better look. There we go. That's pretty good. If you take a look at that, right off the bat, you can see Druillet's, like the helmets and so forth, these creatures are wearing. Total Druillet. But if you look at the creatures themselves, to me, it's Moebius. I think what Moebius is doing here is he's finishing Druillet's work. I mean, the creatures have a Druillet look, but they're certainly finished by Moebius. There's no doubt about it. And I love the total design. It's so eye-catching. Let's take a look inside, shall we? So What we discover right off the bat here, we have Jodorowsky and Moebius with another episode of the INCAL. And there is John DeFool and his bird there. He's so great. I just love those characters. We'll be doing a lot more on the INCAL and John DeFool and the various characters in future videos. Cornillon and Terpent in this the first story, Terra Bajo el Mar, of course, Terror Below the Sea. Interesting. I'm not a big fan of this art, but you know, it's interesting. Indeed. Then we have a one-pager. Dodo and Ben Radice, apparently done in 1982. But very cartoonish, very well done. I'm really kind of digging it. It totally reminds me, of course, of Underground. Here you have Metal News, okay? And the history of comics right here. Music, of course. There's Grace Jones. Right there on the scene. Albert Collins, Frozen Alive, and Frostbite. Expos. There's an Andy Warhol expo apparently in Madrid at this time. Really cool. I love, once again, just much like the original Metal Hurlant, they bring in all of these things that are happening, you know, and I love that because it was, you know, the culture and the way it was changing and expanding and mutating, which made it so interesting. Then, of course, you have Cine here. You have Blake Edwards' Victoria, really trippy flick. E.T., Boda de Sangre. And I believe that's Wedding, Bloody Wedding. And let's make sure that I'm correct with that. Oh, Bodas de Sangre. Okay. I think that's Bloody Weddings. Pretty sure. That's Monteyer. Then we get to this fabulous, it's I guess it's like a 2 or 3 pager. But check this out, guys. To believe it. Now this is, Bihannic is the artist. Druillet wrote the story. But check out this art. Are you seeing that? I'm going to bring this up. It's just hard to believe the detail. Look at this 2-page spread. You can just keep going and going and going, and there are just things happening on almost a microscopic level. With this 2-page spread, the detail is insanity, folks. I really can't say that I've seen something like this before. By this, I mean, not even familiar with this artist, Bihannic. Line work, detail, attention to detail. It's just stunning. It is stunning, folks. Once again, I think what I'll have to do here is to give you a really good shot of this. There we go. There, check that out, man. That is just amazing. The name of the story is El Mago Acrílico, and it says Bihannic, Bihannic, the artist. And Druillet, of course, he wrote this. Here we go with the story called Fin, the end. Could you imagine following that? Like your story following that? That? Oh my God. So it's just, you know, it's kind of bland in comparison. And here we go, Margarine. Now this is, I'm not sure, it's great cartooning. I mean, I love the way this guy draws his stuff. It says Concerts for the Face. That's, says, Lucky, the king of the jets, in concerts for the face, literally. It may mean something else. You know how slang goes and all that stuff. It's got definitely an underground vibe to it. I really like the art. Now this guy is another guy, just really quite amazing. Morisi and Zanfordini. God. Okay. But look at that work. That's some really quite some beautiful framing there. They do a great job here. This is a long freaking story too. Look at that. Gorgeous. So, there's Zanfordini for you. It's a long story, folks. But it's so well done. So well drawn. Something here. There's a little Moebius piece right there. This is another interesting, just sudden offbeat thing, which is totally cool. Okay, it says the soul, el alma de los objetos. Yeah, the soul of the objects. Okay, and so they have various objects from the past. Like, for instance, a flattened out pack of Lucky Strike cigarettes from 1942, a Bell telephone from 1937, a Zippo lighter from 1937, folks. Pretty crazy, isn't it? Minox camera from 1937, Vespa scooter from 1946, and here's some just one-pagers here by Massey, your classic Voss right here. Great, just fantastic art. A one-page story there. And here is a continuation of Moebius and Jodorowsky's The INCAL. Right here. It says Lago de Acido, Lake of Acid. I will be doing more episodes on the INCAL, folks. There's great news coming down the pike, apparently. And I'm going to find out more about it. But there is a movie in the making, folks. And it could be really great. This is Enki Bilal, El Anuncio. Great stuff. I just love his Zipatone, man. He's doing that. He's hitting those grayscales like beautifully. Now, we're going to apparently a bunch of books here. And perhaps some films. Yeah, it's just a variety of things that are happening. From books to movies. Apparently, we've got a poster for Quadrophenia there. Eduardo Enamorado. Eduardo in Love. Really cool looking art. Black and white. Here's some back issues and so forth. Other stuff, specialty books you can get at the time, which is really great. They're announcing the next edition of Metal Hurlant in Spain, and that's issue number 13, which will be focusing on Tron, the film that, of course, Moebius worked on. He did designs for. So that's really fantastic to see that. And let's take a little gander at the back here. Now they have apparently at this time a special robot issue, of course. But here you got your issues of Metal Hurlant right here. I'm going to see if I can bring this up. There we go. They're kind of small. Yeah, that's number 1 on the top left. We're going to be going over those You got number 7 on the right. I like the way they put this together. I think it's a really well done Spanish imprint of Metal Hurlant. I plan on getting a few more issues of it. The quality is very good. One thing I do like is you'll notice, I'm just going to kind of move this up and down. The pages are not glossy. They're at most they're semi-gloss. I think the flat, for example, with this amazing piece, if it was glossy, I think you would lose some detail, and I think it would tend to be more contrast, oriented. Definitely, we're going to look at more issues of the Spanish version because it is great. It is totally worthy of looking at because I think they do just a great job of reproduction and adding certain Spanish artists and Italian artists to the magazine. So that's a look at issue number 12 of the Spanish edition of Metal Hurlant. Thank you very much for watching.